What's happening down there? If you've ever asked yourself that, especially as you inch toward or through menopause, you're not alone. Gray hairs in unexpected places, painful sex that feels like shards of glass, burning when you pee but no infection in sight. Yep, that's menopause. And there's way more to it than hot flashes and mood swings. Today, we're diving into something most people don't talk about: the 13 vaginal changes that can hit us during menopause. Some of them will make you laugh, others might make you cringe, but all of them will make you feel seen. Because if no one else warned you, this is the conversation you didn't know you needed. Let me ask you a few questions. Have you ever suddenly leaked a little when you sneezed and thought, wait, did that just happen? Or looked down and realized you've got silver strands showing up in places only your waxer used to see? Or worse, had sex that felt more like punishment than pleasure? Yeah, it's time we say it out loud. Menopause changes your vagina. A lot. And yet no one really tells us this stuff. Not our moms, not our friends, and honestly, not even most doctors. So in this video, we're counting down the 13 most surprising, under-discussed, and sometimes mortifying changes that can happen down there during menopause. Some are weird, some are funny. But number one, it's the most uncomfortable, the most misunderstood, and the one no one warns you about until it's already messing with your life. So stick around, because at the end, I'm also giving you solutions, real ones, that can actually help. Let's break the silence and start the countdown. 13. Vaginal dryness. Now, I know, this one sounds obvious. You've probably heard the phrase dry vagina tossed around like a menopause punchline. But here's what most people don't realize. Vaginal dryness isn't just about sex. It can hit you any time, now walking, sitting, even just putting on jeans. What causes it? Estrogen loss. That lovely little hormone that keeps your vaginal tissues plump and moist takes a nosedive during menopause. And without it, those tissues thin out, produce less lubrication, and get super sensitive. The result? Everything down there can feel tight, irritated, and yes, uncomfortably dry. And that's not just annoying, it can actually make everyday life miserable. The good news? There are solutions. Vaginal moisturizers, lubricants, and most importantly, vaginal estrogen. That's right. A tiny bit of localized estrogen can bring serious relief. Talk to your doctor, because dryness isn't something you have to just deal with. 12. Vaginal hair loss. Ever looked down and thought, wait, where did all my hair go? You're not imagining it. Menopause can bring on unexpected thinning down there. It's the kind of change no one warns you about, like waking up and realizing your bikini line is giving you a free Brazilian. And while some might cheer that waxing days are over, for others, it's just strange. Just like hair thins on your head, it can thin on your vulva too. That hair actually has a job, protecting sensitive skin from friction. So when it fades, things can feel more exposed or irritated. The root cause? You guessed it. Dropping estrogen levels. Hair follicles shrink, growth slows, and the texture gets finer. There's no medical fix needed here, but comfort is key. Ditch harsh products, skip shaving if it stings, and stick to breathable underwear. This one's not dangerous, just another what the heck moment in the menopause journey. 11. Vaginal gray hair. Have you ever been in the shower, looked down, and thought, is that a gray hair? Yep, down there. No one warns you that your pubes are aging too. It hits you like a midlife crisis in your underwear. We expect gray hair on our heads, maybe even our eyebrows. But there? That's a whole new level of surprise. Here's the deal. Hair pigment is controlled by melanin, and as estrogen declines, melanin production slows. So just like the hair on your scalp, your pubic hair loses color. It fades, sometimes turns wiry, sometimes disappears altogether. Is it dangerous? Nope. Is it weird? Absolutely. Is it normal? 100%. You don't need to do anything about it unless it really bothers you. If it does, some women trim or dye. Though please be careful with dyes near sensitive areas. Otherwise, own the silver. You've earned every strand. 10. Itching and burning sensations. Ever felt an itch down there so intense you wanted to sit on a bag of frozen peas? Yeah. It's not just you. This is one of those sneaky menopause symptoms that shows up without warning. One day, everything feels normal, and the next your underwear feels like sandpaper, and every movement sends a fiery tingle through your pelvic region. It's itchy, it's burny, and it's not an infection. So what's going on? When estrogen drops, your vaginal walls thin out and lose moisture. That dry, delicate skin becomes more prone to irritation, friction, and tiny micro tears, which leads to that maddening itch and sting. The fix? First, avoid anything scented: soaps, wipes, washes. They can throw off your pH and make things worse. Instead, use non-hormonal vaginal moisturizers that are pH balanced and designed for internal use. Apply regularly, not just when symptoms flare. But the real MVP here, vaginal estrogen therapy. Unlike oral hormone therapy, this is a localized treatment, often in the form of a cream, ring, tablet, or suppository. It delivers a microdose of estrogen directly to the tissue, helping it rebuild thickness, elasticity, and natural moisture. Over time, it can completely turn things around, relieving dryness, calming the itch, and making your vulva feel like you again. Don't wait until you're miserable. Bring it up to your doctor. You deserve comfort. And yes, that includes down there. 9. Burning during urination. And no, it's not a urinary tract infection. Ever gone to pee and felt that awful sting, only to have your doctor say, "Everything looks normal"? Welcome to one of menopause's most misleading symptoms. This one trips up a lot of women. We're taught to assume burning equals infection, but during menopause, that stinging can happen without any infection at all. And it's very real. Here's what's going on. Estrogen helps keep the lining of your urethra, the tiny tube that carries urine out, thick, resilient, and well lubricated. When estrogen drops, that tissue gets dry and fragile, just like the vaginal walls. So now, even normal urine can cause a burning sensation on its way out. First step, rule out a urinary tract infection with your doctor. Always. But if tests keep coming back clean and you're still in pain, it might be due to genitourinary syndrome of menopause. Vaginal estrogen, applied locally, can help restore moisture and rebuild those tissues, including around the urethra. And in the meantime, drink plenty of water, avoid scented products, and know this: peeing shouldn't burn. Ever. 8. Increased risk of sexually transmitted infections. Wait, what? Isn't that something we worried about in college? Here's the surprise. Your risk for infections like chlamydia, gonorrhea, and herpes can actually go up after menopause. And no, it's not because you're suddenly reckless. It's because your body changes in ways you weren't expecting. Estrogen isn't just about hot flashes and mood swings. It's your vaginal tissue's first line of defense. It keeps the lining thick, elastic, and well lubricated, and it helps maintain a low vaginal pH that prevents bad bacteria from taking over. When estrogen drops, the vaginal walls thin, natural lubrication decreases, the pH level rises, making the environment more friendly to pathogens. All of this means tiny tears happen more easily during sex, and those microabrasions give infections a direct path in. It's not about shame, it's about knowledge. If you're sexually active, especially with a new partner, you need to use protection. Condoms matter. Barrier methods matter. And if you're using lube, make sure it's water-based. Oil-based lubes can degrade condoms and reduce effectiveness. Menopause doesn't end your sex life, but it does mean we need to be smarter about it. Safe can still be sexy. 7. Stress incontinence. Ever laughed too hard, sneezed in public, or coughed during yoga and suddenly felt a little leak? Yeah, that's stress incontinence, and it's a lot more common than anyone admits. This isn't about full bladder accidents. It's those little surprise leaks that happen when pressure is put on your bladder. You bend down, pick something up, and suddenly you're running to the bathroom, or your pants say otherwise. While it's often linked to childbirth, menopause makes it worse. Why? Estrogen helps keep the tissues and muscles around the bladder and urethra strong and elastic. When those hormone levels drop, everything loses tone. Your pelvic floor weakens, your urethra becomes less sealed, and even a giggle can trigger a drip. So what helps? First, pelvic floor exercises. Kegels can strengthen the muscles that support your bladder. But consistency is key. You've got to work them daily to see results. And second, vaginal estrogen. It can improve the strength and quality of the urethral tissue, helping prevent those surprise leaks. It's not just what happens when you get older. It's a treatable, manageable issue. And you don't have to cross your legs every time you laugh. 6. Frequent urinary tract infections. Ever feel like you've barely finished one round of antibiotics before the next burning urge to pee hits? You're not imagining it. Menopause can make urinary tract infections way more common. And no, it's not about poor hygiene or bad luck. It's about what's happening internally. When estrogen levels drop, the tissues in your urinary tract, including your bladder and urethra, get thinner, drier, and less protected. The healthy bacteria that usually keep your vagina and urethra balanced also decrease, and the area becomes more vulnerable to harmful bacteria sneaking in. Suddenly, the tiniest thing, like not peeing right after sex or just holding your bladder a little too long, can set off yet another infection. So how do you stop the cycle? Vaginal estrogen is one of the most effective long-term solutions. It helps restore the mucosal lining and promotes healthy bacteria, basically reinforcing your body's natural defense system. Also important, drink lots of water, don't hold your pee, and avoid irritating products like perfumed wipes or tight synthetic underwear. 5. Pain when sitting. Imagine this. You're just trying to enjoy a coffee or drive your car, and suddenly the act of sitting becomes uncomfortable, or even painful. Sounds dramatic? Unfortunately, it's very real for some women during and after menopause. This symptom usually comes from a combination of vaginal atrophy and vulvar thinning. As estrogen declines, the tissues around your vulva lose fat, elasticity, and natural cushioning. That includes the labia, which means there's less protection between your pelvic bones and whatever surface you're sitting on. It can feel like pressure, burning, aching, or even sharp discomfort when seated for long periods. And if vaginal dryness or irritation is already in play, sitting can make everything feel worse. What helps? Start with a soft seat. Seriously, use cushion chairs or a donut pillow if needed. Apply a non-hormonal vaginal moisturizer regularly to keep tissues more supple and hydrated. And again, vaginal estrogen is a powerful tool. It rebuilds tissue integrity and can significantly reduce pain and sensitivity in that entire area. You don't have to white-knuckle your way through lunch dates or car rides. There are ways to make sitting feel normal again. 4. Urgency, incontinence. Ever felt totally fine until you weren't? You're out running errands or in line at the grocery store, and suddenly, out of nowhere, you have to pee right now. And even if the bathroom's just a few feet away, you might not make it in time. It happened to me at Target. I was grabbing a few things, totally normal day, and then, bam! The urge hit me so fast it made my heart race. I tried to walk calmly to the restroom, but the closer I got, the worse it got. I didn't make it. I was soaked. I had to leave, totally embarrassed, with a sweatshirt tied around my waist. I thought I had a urinary tract infection, but nope. Turns out it was urgency incontinence, when the bladder muscles contract suddenly and without warning, often triggered by thinning tissues, weak pelvic support, and, you guessed it, dropping estrogen. Here's the fix. Vaginal estrogen can help restore the tissue strength and bladder support. Pelvic floor exercises make a real difference too. And planning ahead never hurts. This isn't about losing control. It's about understanding what's happening and knowing there are real, effective ways to manage it. 3. Bleeding or tearing during intercourse. Let's be real. Sex is supposed to be intimate and enjoyable, not painful, scary, or followed by spotting on the sheets. But for many women going through menopause, this happens, and it can be shocking the first time. You may not even realize it's coming. You're finally feeling close to your partner, and suddenly it feels like your body is working against you. Here's what's happening. When estrogen drops, your vaginal walls thin out and lose elasticity. That soft, stretchable tissue becomes fragile, like paper instead of skin. Without enough natural lubrication or flexibility, even gentle intercourse can cause microtears, irritation, or actual bleeding. It's not a sign that something is wrong with you. It's a biological response to hormonal change. But it is something you need to address, because this kind of pain can create fear, avoidance, and distance in your relationships. So what helps? First, vaginal estrogen. It rebuilds the vaginal lining and helps prevent tearing. And don't skip the lubricant. Opt for water-based, gentle formulas. Also, give your body plenty of time. Longer foreplay, slower movement, open communication. Sex should never feel like a medical procedure. You deserve pleasure, not pain. 2. Sexual disinterest from discomfort. If you found yourself thinking, I just don't feel like it anymore, you're not alone, and you're not broken. So many women hit this point during or after menopause and wonder, where did my libido go? But here's the truth. It's hard to want something your body has started to associate with pain, stress, or fear. After months or years of vaginal dryness, burning, tearing, or painful intercourse, your brain starts doing its job, protecting you. That means shutting down desire, avoiding intimacy, and often not even knowing how to explain it to your partner without feeling embarrassed or guilty. But this isn't about losing interest in sex forever. It's about your body sounding the alarm that something isn't right. And there are ways to fix that. Step 1. Address the discomfort. Vaginal estrogen can restore the health of your tissues. Lubricants and moisturizers can bring back comfort. And once your body starts to feel safe again, the spark can follow. Desire isn't gone. It's just hiding behind a wall of discomfort. And you have every right to break that wall down and reclaim your connection to yourself and to your partner. 1. Painful sex. The one no one talks about. The one that can feel like shards of glass. The one that makes you question your body, your relationship, and your worth. All at once. It doesn't start all at once. First, it's a little discomfort. Then it's avoiding intimacy. Then, before you know it, even the thought of sex triggers anxiety. And if you've ever cried in silence after a moment that was supposed to feel close, I see you. This is called dyspareunia, and for many postmenopausal women, it's one of the most devastating symptoms. And it's not in your head. When estrogen drops, the vaginal lining becomes thin, dry, and inflamed. The tissue loses elasticity. Natural lubrication disappears. And what used to feel good now feels painful, even damaging. But here's the hope. You don't have to live like this. Vaginal estrogen can reverse much of the thinning and dryness. Non-hormonal lubricants and moisturizers can ease friction. And pelvic floor therapy can help with muscle tension that adds to the pain. You deserve pleasure. You deserve connection. And you deserve to know that this is not the end of your sex life. It's just a new chapter with the right tools and support. That was a lot, right? 13 changes no one warned us about. But every one of them is real, common and connected to one powerful thing: loss of estrogen. From dryness and tearing to incontinence and painful sex, these changes aren't just part of getting older. They're symptoms that deserve real solutions. And the truth is, you don't have to suffer through them. Vaginal estrogen therapy, non-hormonal moisturizers, pelvic floor exercises, open conversations. All of it can help. What matters most is knowing you're not alone and you're not crazy. These changes are normal. The silence around them, that's the problem. Let's change that. Talk to your doctor. Share this with a friend. Leave a comment if anything here resonated, because your voice might help someone else feel less alone. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. This channel is all about supporting women through every phase of menopause, openly, honestly, and without shame. We've got this together.